Attorney, I have a question. Is the power of Congress to create laws absolute? The answer is no. There are limitations. So, what are these limitations? So, number one, penal laws enacted by Congress must be general in application, which means that penal laws must apply to everybody. It must apply to all persons living or sojourning here in the Philippines, whether you're a Filipino citizen or a foreigner. Otherwise, if it's not general in application, it would be violative of the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. And number two, penal laws must not partake the nature of an ex post facto law. Okay, so what's an ex post facto law? So we have here number one, or letter A. Ex post facto law makes criminal an act done before the passage of the law, and which was innocent when done, and punishes such an act. So this refers to retroactively declaring an act criminal, okay, when it was not a crime when committed. Okay, example, if a law is passed in 2025 banning social media posts criticizing public officials, and someone is prosecuted for a post made in 2024 when it was legal, so that's an ex post facto law application, and that is prohibited under the 1987 Philippine Constitution, Bill of Rights, Section 22. Okay? So B, it aggravates a crime or makes it greater than it was when committed. So, of course, this involves severity of an offense after it has already been committed. So, if a person convicted of simple theft in 2023 under a law that punishes it with a fine suddenly faces imprisonment because there's a new law which reclassifies theft as a felony with harsher penalties. So that is not allowed because that's a clear violation of the people's rights under the 1987 Philippine Constitution because that's an ex post facto law. Letter C changes the punishment and, of course, inflicts greater punishment. So self-explanatory. So let's just say a person was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment in 2023. He cannot be subjected to a new law passed by 2024 that imposes a 10-year imprisonment for the crime that he had previously committed. So that's not allowed. Letter D alters the legal rules of evidence. Let's just say for the crime of treason, it requires two witnesses to sustain conviction. But niingon sila, there's a law which alters it, and it requires conviction. It authorizes conviction upon a less different testimony. So, one witness na lang ang kailangan, not the two witness rule anymore. So, that is not allowed because it authoriza- authorizes conviction upon a less or different testimony than the law required at the time of the commission of the offense. And that's an ex post facto law. Okay? So, another example, so what if a person was acquitted in 2023 due to insufficient evidence? That person cannot be retried under a new law that allows hearsay evidence to be admissible for that offense. Okay? So, again, that's an ex post facto law. Letter E, it assumes to regulate civil rights and remedies only. In effect, imposes penalty or deprivation of a right for something which when done was lawful. So let's just say a law passed in 2025 prohibiting landowners from selling properties to foreigners penalizes a sale made in 2024 when such transactions were legal. Okay, so if that would be the case, that's an ex post facto law. And last, letter F. So deprives a person accused of a crime some lawful protection to which he has become entitled, such as double jeopardy and amnesty. So let's just say a person was acquitted for tax evasion in 2023. He cannot be retried again, okay? Because that's double jeopardy already, okay? Or let's just say nahatagan kag amnesty. O di ka pwede nga filean og case na. Why? Because you were already given an amnesty. Okay? And number three, penal laws enacted by Congress must not be a bill of attainder. So what's a bill of attainder? It's a legislative act which inflicts punishment without judicial trial. So example ani is Congress passes a law which authorizes the arrest and imprisonment of communists without the benefit of a judicial trial. That is not allowed because we need judicial trial. Okay? In order to convict a person, there must be a trial on the merits of the case to determine whether or not the person is guilty or not. If he's guilty, okay, he will be imprisoned. If he's not guilty, he will be acquitted. So, bawal ang Congress mo create og laws which automatically arrest and imprison communists without trial. And if that would be the case, that's a bill of attainder. And it is one of the limitations of Congress to enact penal laws. Number four, Congress cannot impose cruel or excessive penalties or punishments. So again, punishments must be commensurate with the offense. So if a heinous crime, of course, allowed ang death penalty as capital punishment or reclusion perpetua or reclusion temporal. But for light penalties, uh, of course, dapat light ra pud ang penalty like arresto minor or arresto mayor. For correctional na pud, we have prison correctional. So again, penalties must be commensurate with the offense. Example, simple theft, then the punishment is death. That's excessive na, di ba? So, that's excessive penalty and that is prohibited. Okay? And number five, no person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense without due process of law. So, due process of law, it's a law which hears before it condemns, which proceeds upon inquiry and renders judgment only after a fair trial. So it purports notice and hearing to the party. Okay? So that's all. Thank you very much for listening and God bless.